the Person Behind the Pads podcast, a chat with a Colts player about life off the gridiron. From inside the Indiana Union Construction Industry radio studio.
This is Person Behind the Pads. I am Larra Overton, and I am joined by Alec Pierce, who normally we would introduce as Colts wide receiver, but for the purposes of this podcast, it is Alec Pierce, son of Greg and Stephanie, brother to Justin and Caden. Earlier this year, you and I had a great conversation when your brother and his team at Princeton were in the NCAA tournament, and you guys all headed to Louisville to watch the games and do all of that. And you come from a very well-rounded, multi-sport family. You're very, very close to your brothers and your parents. What was it like growing up as the middle of the three Pierce brothers?
Yeah, no, it's super fun. Like you said, we just love sports and love competing and all that. So, I had my best friend Ben Norgard. He was basically like always my teammate, and then it was my older brother and my younger brother. And we'd play like whatever. We'd play like some wiffle ball, some basketball in the front yard, or go to the park and play football. And it was always a really good time. And I think it just kind of created us all like super competitive. Because that's just what we enjoyed doing from the start.
If I were to ask your brothers, Cade and Justin, to describe your personality, how would they describe you?
I think they'd say like I'm goofy, like I'm very, I enjoy having fun, like cracking jokes, having a good time, keep things very light, so not so serious, I'd say.
How do your each personalities, how unique are each of your personalities, yourself, Justin, and Cade?
Yeah, I think we all got some similar things, but it's more so like, Justin's the big brother in the sense like he'll be a lot more serious all the time, like a little bit more on that note, it's like intense and serious. And then Cade being the little brother, like he's always there, like he's funny, he's just cracking jokes, never really taking things too serious and stuff. So, but then they all know when to flip the switch and be serious or keep things light. So
Justin played collegiately at William & Mary, then played at University of North Carolina, now playing professionally overseas. Of course, Cade right now at Princeton pursuing his basketball career and, of course, academic career as well. What was, growing up, one of the things you look more forward to most aside from playing sports with your brothers?
Yeah, I really enjoyed like all our family get-togethers we'd have. Like Thanksgiving was always my favorite holiday. I love the food. And I love just hanging out with my cousins. We play games, play a lot of cards, stuff like that. Other than that, that was probably the biggest thing.
Did your cousins grow up? You grew up just outside of Chicago suburbs.
Yep.
Were a lot of your cousins nearby, like where you guys were all pretty close together? Or was it primarily like family holidays and things where you would get together a few times a year?
Yeah, no, we did have a good amount of them lived kind of in the area. So my mom was from a very similar area, so most of her family was in the Chicago area, and then my dad's from Milwaukee, but his brother, he's got the same family as us. He's the oldest, so his middle brother that he lived in Glen Ellen with us, and he had 4 kids, so they're all like a little bit younger than us, but they're a good time to hang out with.
Just a whole crew running together. That's awesome. Both of your parents were athletes at Northwestern. Your dad played football. Mom played volleyball, right? Was it just like, did the back of Stephanie Pierce's minivan or SUV or whatever, was it just like a Dick's Sporting Goods back there driving around, like shuttling you guys to all of your different practices and everything, school, all of that?
Yeah, for sure. I remember countless, like, they had a whole carpool system going on with like all the different parents and all that. So I remember I'd get picked up by certain different parents on different days and whatnot, because I had buddies that lived like down the block from me that we're on the same team. So yeah, she figured it out somehow, and I'm incredibly thankful for her for that.
And a lot of people will say growing up as the middle child, it's difficult because the baby gets spoiled and then the older child gets to do everything first. So for you, what was the best and worst thing about being Justin's little brother and Cade's big brother?
For me, I loved being the middle child. I think it kind of fits with my personality. I don't know if it developed off of that or that's just how I was, but I've always, kind of enjoyed being out the way. Like I don't love all the attention and all that, so it kind of just allowed me to be myself and kind of like do things on my own. I mean, obviously I think my parents paid me attention, but that's kind of the stereotype, right? You get the middle child, and then I was also kind of a bit of the middle child where they're kind of, people say they're reckless or whatnot. I think I was that in a physical sense, like we play sports. I was always the one that was like hurting or getting hurt, like hurting somebody. Like if there was a fight going on, I was always the one involved. So yeah, I guess that's why they ended up choosing basketball and I went with football.
Alec Pierce, the instigator. I think that I'm trying to wrap my mind around that. What is something that you admire about each of your brothers? You look at and you think, maybe I would like to be a little bit more like one brother in this way, or this is how I try to be like Justin or like Cade in this way.
Yeah, I'd say for both of them, just their work ethic. I think it comes with the sport of basketball, but they put so much time into their craft. They're always at the gym, taking shots and stuff like that. So definitely that. Justin, he did an incredible job, and I think Cade's kind of on that similar path of, like, he did an incredible job with his time management, and he graduated college in 3 years from a very good university, William and Mary, and then he used that to grad transfer, and he went to North Carolina, and while he was playing basketball in North Carolina, he was in the NBA, getting his master's in business, and that was like, I know it was a lot of work. Like he said, everyone else there was like, I think you had to have work experience or something. So everyone else there was in their either late 20s or 30s, and he had to dress up a little bit for class every day. But he was doing that on top of playing like that, UNC basketball schedule. So, and he ended up, it was a 2-year program, so he obviously was done at North Carolina after a year, but he ended up finishing overseas while he was playing. I think he was logging on to classes at like late in the like 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, something like that. So he's super hardworking, super dedicated. Like if he puts his mind to something, he's gonna get it done. And Cade's kind of the same way. I'd say, I'm proud of Cade, just how he's just been a winner. Like his whole thing, like he's just kind of a natural at everything. I'd say very good golfer, very good like random sports. You give him like a whatever, he's gonna be really good at it. And he was just a winner. Yeah, in high school they won state. I feel like every sport he played, they were always like pretty close to winning state. So I don't know if he just had a good group of friends that were good at sports with him, or he just brought everyone up or something. And you see he goes to college and Princeton wins some games. So it just seems like he's got that with him.
Yeah, that Princeton team was like the Cinderella story of this year's tournament. I think they had everybody rooting for him on that run. I like how you brag about Justin graduating in 3 years, because you graduated in 3.5 with a degree in mechanical engineering from the University of Cincinnati, which is incredibly impressive in its own right. You mentioned that Cade's a good golfer. I know you like golf as well.
I do, yeah.
If you were to have to pick between your two brothers to play in a 2-man scramble, who are you going with?
Cade's very good. Cade's a really good golfer. Yeah,
really.
He's probably like I don't even know what his handicap is, but like once he was in his golf season, he was shooting in the 70s most times. Like I don't know if he's ever broke par, but I know he's gotten probably like some 73s, 74s, 75s. So he's good. He's like a 3 or 4 handicap.
Nice. What is your strength on the golf course? Where's your game the best?
What happens naturally, I can hit the ball far, but I need to be more controlled. I like to say around the greens, putting and chipping. I'm not for like how I'm a bogey golfer, right? So, but I think for that, like a lot of people usually are pretty bad putters and stuff like that. I'm pretty decent putting, so that kind of saves my scores a lot of times.
Nice. Among your current teammates, who's the best like all around golfer? Would you say?
Yeah, I play a lot with Ethan Furnia.
Yeah.
And well, Dez, now that Dez is gone, I would have said Dez had a slight edge on me and Ethan. We played a ton last year. But now I'm thinking like Ethan's probably the best guy of the guys that I play with here.
Where is your favorite course to play locally? What's the spot? Like you have a day off or you got time in the summer?
Well, we play right down the block. Eagle Creek is like, it was just like our kind of getaway, It's like, it's just got a special place in our hearts, It's just, it's a local muni, right? But it's we love it out there.
Shout out to the neighborhood golf course,
and
right?
Shout out to those guys out there. Marcus at the front desk, we love them.
That's fantastic. So I got to know your parents a bit through the tournament when I was talking with them and getting pictures and stuff for our interview. They're incredible people, and you can just tell with the way that they've raised you guys and the impact that they have had. Which of your parents would you say that you are more like?
I'm just like my mom, I think, in a lot of ways. Yeah, I'm definitely like, she's perfectionist. I think I get that from her. I don't know if I think people are saying I look more like my dad now, but growing up, everyone said I look just like my mom. But yeah, I'd say my mom, just kind of how we act and all that.
Who did you get more of your athleticism from?
My mom. I think my brothers got my dad. I got my mom.
So did the volleyball translate more to football?
Yeah, I played volleyball too. That was like our mom's skills.
Volleyball, track, and basketball, right? All three growing up?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, all three of those plus football. High school, you can't do 4 sports, so track and volleyball were both in spring, so I kind of had to rotate that in different years. I ended up just doing volleyball first couple of years, and then did track my senior year, but. I liked them both. Like, it was tough to choose.
What were your events in track?
100, 200, 400. Like, basically, we did relays. Like, I didn't really focus on the open events. I just did my senior year. And then, like, my best personal event was probably triple jump. I did long jump also, but triple jump was better. That's
a very technique-driven event. A lot of people, like, don't understand all that goes into the execution of a triple jump.
Yeah, I think it is a lot. Like, it's a lot for people to learn, but I had done a bunch of it in middle school. We had middle school track that I did, and so I learned how to do it early, so I kind of like, you just don't really forget how to do it. And it is a lot of technique, though. Like, I think if I would have I was like watching my jumps, like, I'd get good numbers, good distance, but like you're supposed to be kind of more even on all 3 of your jumps, and mine would be like a long jump and then like a little step in between and then another long one. So it's bad technique, but oh well.
I know that schedules are incredibly difficult to align with, obviously, Kate at Princeton, going to school, basketball, all of that, Justin playing overseas, and of course your parents being back in Chicago. What do you guys do to really try to find time to be together? Do you guys have like a family trip planned, or like how intentional do you have to be about like really trying to find the opportunities that all of you get to be together? And then what do you look forward to most about maybe what you guys are able to do?
Yeah, I think we're planning something this summer, and I think we were going to go last year, or we wanted to try and go up to, I guess in Canada there's somewhere, some like national park in Canada, like seems pretty cool. I don't know. My brother's telling me about it. He's a big traveler being in Europe and all that, but they were planning on doing that, but I guess that books up like super early, so I think they might plan to do it next year. But we just go, like, my family always grew up going to Wisconsin in the summer. Obviously, my dad's family's up there, and, there's lakes up there, stuff like that. So I think we might go get a little lake trip this week or this summer, sometime in June once I get time off. And my brother's back. Little brother he just passed his last final last night, so shout out to him on that. Well, I don't know if he passed. He took his last final. But hopefully he passed, right?
He's a Pierce. I'm sure it was like nothing less than an A without question, right?
Princeton's serious. I could tell he was telling me his last final was Sunday at like 7 o'clock at night. I'm like, oh, that's a tough time to take a final right there.
No doubt. That's grueling. But I guess that's what you get in the Ivy League, right? That is exactly what he signed up for. Alec, you have been fantastic. As we wrap this up, when you guys are together and you guys are hanging out, what is the thing you appreciate most about the relationship that you have with each of your brothers?
Yeah, just a tight bond. I mean, there's someone like it's truly like, they're a friend, but it's like it's bigger than that. Obviously, their family. It's like, just I can always go to them with anything I got. Whether it's something serious or what, I just want to talk to somebody, get a laugh, something like that. So I just really appreciate them for that, and they've always had my back.
Awesome. We appreciate you so much. That is the Person Behind the Pads podcast with this week's guest, Alec Pierce.